Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
What's up, Facebook? It's Tuesday. It's Talk About It Tuesday. Got a special guest today. We got Luke, CEO. We had to change up scenery. I'm in the CEO's office. Don't think he'll fire me live on Facebook here. So here we are. We've got our tacos. Luke, thanks for jumping on with us.
Glad to be here, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I like tacos and I like to talk.
Absolutely. So here we go. I've got some questions teed up. This will be a great time, though, for those of you in the audience to grill the CEO, and let's fire some questions his way as well. But first, Luke, you created this beast of CompanyCam.
We can eat the tacos, right?
Yeah, eat away. So you created the beast of CompanyCam. For those people out there that aren't using CompanyCam yet, what was it in your business when you were doing the roofing thing that led you to realize, hey, I need CompanyCam or something like CompanyCam to get done?
So, I got put in charge of managing a division of my dad's roofing company. So I was managing the siding and gutters and kind of the exterior stuff. And I didn't know that as well as I knew roofing. So it was new, and it was just harder to manage because we didn't have all of the kind of processes, and we just didn't know it as well. And so I was really trying to get my guys to take more pictures. That's something we were always doing because we just, you need photos for documentation. If there's some sort of argument at some point, like with an employee or the customer or anyone, if you don't have a photo, then you're not going to win that argument usually, especially trying to run a good business. So if someone says, hey, you guys damaged my gutters when you're doing my roof. Did we damage their gutters? Maybe. It happens. It's possible. But a lot of times, you're not looking at your gutters until you get your roof done. Then you're walking around your house and you're looking and you're like, well, it sat on my gutter. I didn't, that wasn't there before. And there's a half chance it was there. You just aren't looking at your gutters all the time. So we needed to cover our butts. We needed to be able to collaborate on estimating so that when we were planning to do the job, we showed up with the right materials, and we didn't show up with a 20-foot ladder when we needed a 40-foot ladder. And it was a series of things that were frustrating. And I kept thinking guys were handing me photos on memory cards. Guys were trying to get them in the Dropbox. They weren't going into the right folder. I was getting texted photos, and it was a mess. And I just was like, this needs to be better. It can't remain like this. Someone else is having this problem somewhere, so I'm going to get on Google. I'm going to figure out what the smart people are doing, and that's what we're going to start doing. And for the life of me, I could not find any solution that was made for us. There was all sorts of weird edge cases of guys that do land surveying need to organize their photos, but nothing for contractors. And what I kept thinking is we go out to these jobs, they have an address. That address does not change. The address stays the same. Now, the people might move, whatever, but we organized everything by address so that regardless of what people moved, whatever, we would know that on this property we did this thing. And I just thought, okay, so if we can just organize our photos and stuff by the address, then we'll have the information, we'll be set. And after months of looking for a way to do this and not finding it, I was just let's just do this. People do this, we can do this. So we hired some developers and built kind of a simple version of CompanyCam. And what we realized really quickly is that other people need this. The problem that we knew that we had was that we were disorganized, and that when we wanted a photo, we couldn't find it. Was it on someoe's phone? Was it in the Dropbox? Where was it? How did we find it? We can't search for it because the file name is 84791-10. You know what I mean? It's just this
Absolutely.
Nonsense. And so that was the problem we set out to solve. But once we did that, and once you're using a smartphone, it's like everything's real time, it's all there. We realized pretty quickly that being able to immediately see every photo that was taken in the field and get that, like, the timeline almost of what's going on out in the field was super helpful. Like the amount of problems that we stopped, before we had a leak in the roof because we just saw a photo come through and we're like, we need to take care of that, or like that whole real-time communication. Like, it saved us a ton of phone calls, a ton of driving around, and just headaches down the road because we could see it happening. We didn't have to be at every site. That was like the real killer experience where I knew that we were onto something, because it's not just roofers, like that's what we were doing.
Right.
But now, it's funny because I make a joke that that the address doesn't change. Now we have a customer that actually moves houses. They load them onto a truck and they move them. So the address technically does change. Shout out to Gator Dodson. We appreciate you guys and moving houses. But that's where it started. And then since then, we found good people, other people. No, but we found that, like, plumbers, pool builders, fence builders, it's like anyone who's out in the field can gain from getting this information organized and then putting it to work at their company in real time, not waiting on it, just knowing what's going on. Like, we joke about people managing their business from their toilet, like just sitting in the bathroom, scrolling through, seeing what's going on, catching problems. So yeah, that's the long version, but there is a longer version, so we'll save that for the next
talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think we got enough tacos for that.
Yeah.
One, so.
Speaking of tacos, man, I'm too much talking. I need to eat some tacos.
Well, you answered like 6 questions I had teed up, so good work on that. But yeah, so that kind of took you from the roofing life to now you're in the tech world and here at CompanyCam, hanging out with us full time back in your CEO's office here. What would you say, you covered a lot of this, but what would you say the number one benefit for somebody that's new to CompanyCam? What are they going to see by jumping on to CompanyCam? What kind of goals do you have for them?
I think, like I said, people know they have a problem with organization. They don't quite know what's possible with sort of efficiency and how their work gets done. And they sort of learn what's possible once they're using CompanyCam. So what I've heard a bunch of our customers say is, like, transparency. Like, it's not taking someone's word for it or anything like that. It's like the picture tells the truth. Take a picture of it. That is the state of it right now. There's no embellishing how much work is done or the prop. Like, it's just all there, and that photo is telling the truth. So getting that information of what's going on to flow throughout the company immediately so that everyone has access to it allows for transparency and then just better communication. Because, we think that communication at a contracting business needs to be visual. So they're changing something out in the physical world. They're building a fence, they're putting on a roof, they're replacing an HVAC unit. And if you're going to talk about that and have, like, a good, efficient conversation or communication about it, you need to be looking at the same thing. And if I'm in the office or in my truck and you're out in the field, it's if we're in CompanyCam, you can just say, you can tag me in a photo, we can both look at it and we can talk about it on the phone, we can comment back and forth. It's like yesterday I was looking at too much tacos in my mouth. I was looking at my family roofing company's account, and they were just having this long conversation on a photo about, like, all the measurements of this chimney and who was going to make what piece of it. And, like, it was all drawn on there. They were kind of pointing out this spot, this spot, this spot. And it was happening between, like, 4 or 5 people. Whereas before, that would have been like, I'm going to text you, and then I'm going to text you. And then someone's asking, well, Adam, does he know about this? So then we're going to text him. And it's just, that isn't efficient when, when there's more people involved. Like, so long answer is knowing what's going on, being able to communicate effectively about what's happening out on the job site without the sort of technology getting in your way.
Awesome. So I know one thing we kind of strive for here at CompanyCam as a company is, helping contractors get home earlier.
Yep.
Spend more time with their families. and you talked a lot about the flow of photos and the efficiency with that. We have a lot of integrations. How important do you see our ability to integrate with other softwares and solutions out there?
Yeah.
Speak a little to that.
So we want to be really good at one or two things. We want to be the best, simplest way to capture the information in the field, and to use that in the sort of generic ways that a lot of contractors are going to use that, to create photo reports, to share photos. But it's about capturing that and putting it to work. We don't want to be the way that they manage their customers, or the way they write their bids, or the way that they do their billing. Like, in my philosophy is you can't be good at everything. So we're not going to be able to be really good at this and really good at that. So we want to partner with people who are really good at that so that we can be really good at this, and then it just makes sense. Like, it's automatic. So integrations are key. Like, we are always looking, if you're watching this and you use some software at your business, we would love to integrate with that software, because we want to make it easy for the information and the content that you create in CompanyCam to get into whatever other software you use, or wherever you want it. We know we're not the end necessarily. Like, there's a lot of useful things you can do in CompanyCam, but you may need that in your CRM for sending email follow-ups to customers. You may need it into an estimating platform, and we run an open API, like an open system that says, hey, you can take your information, you can send it to whatever other software you want, as long as they're open to accepting it. And that's our policy forever. We're not trying to lock it in or lock you in. We want it to be able to flow around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see our friends at Job Nimbus are in here watching with us. Jake is joining in, and we've had him on talk about it.
Yeah, just like Job Nimbus. And that's a great example of an integration, because you can take photos in CompanyCam, they flow into the right project in Job Nimbus, and it feels seamless, and we're not trying to do their job, they're not trying to do our job. It works.
Absolutely. So I actually had a call this morning with our friends at SFY, and we're going to get a little bit more of an in-depth partnership with them. And that kind of goes to what you were talking about there, is getting the photos in the right people's hands. And we're going to make it so that SFY, who's doing all of your supplementing for you, is able to have access to the photos that you're taking. One thing that kind of stuck with me that she talked about in the call was, she said that the right photos on a job, an insurance job, can be worth thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any stories about that, or situations that you can think of?
Well, yeah, I mean, that goes back to the photo is the proof, right? So if the insurance company sends out an adjuster, they give an estimate to the insured, they may not catch everything. They likely have an interest in that claim being smaller than bigger, because they're the ones paying. Doesn't mean that they're going to go out of their way to do it wrong. It's just that you may go out there, find more damage, and want to supplement that claim, and you could just write them an email saying, hey, I saw more damage out there. Would you please include this in the bid? And they're going to say, prove it. And so, we have great relationships with companies that help sort of the insured and contractors get the best deal out of a claim, to try to make it as fair as possible. And the reason is because we make it super easy for that company to get the photos. They have access to all the photos immediately when they're taken. So if the insurance company doesn't cover the ice and weather shield, or the gutter apron, or the valley, or like you name it, I've run into all of it. If you want to get that covered, you'd better prove that it's damaged. And the way to prove that is with a photo that's timestamped, that's geotagged, that is from that property, that just shows this is the problem, and that's really the end game. That's just one scenario. I mean, one of our customers that's in distribution, one time, they sold some shingles to a contractor that I don't know that they had a great relationship with, like a lot of prior history. And the guy, the roofer, claimed that he was shorted, I want to say it was like 4 squares or something, like 12 bundles of shingles, more or less. And then he called the police on our customer, who's a distributor. So they showed up, the police show up and they're like, well, what's going on? And the guys, I think, in their office shouting at him about, like, you shorted me on these shingles. And they pulled up CompanyCam and we're like, no, we have a timestamped, geotagged photo. We can all sit here and we can count the bundles in this picture and we can say, this is your receipt. This is what was in the photo. Problem solved. And the cop just told the guy to get lost. And, they called and told me the story because it was like, paid for the year of CompanyCam just for the hassle of that. But it's like that, you don't really know how you're going to need the photos. I mean, sometimes you know exactly what you're going to do with them. But unless you're out taking photos and you have them organized, then when you need one, can you find it? What are you going to need it for? You don't know. You just have to have it there and have it organized. And so there's a lot of use cases, but that's like our happiest customers. So the best stories we hear are like, I was going to have a big problem, and then I was able to find something in CompanyCam, and it got me out of that headache. Thank you so much. And that's the stuff we love to hear because It's like, it's helping. You know what I mean? It's like making people's actual day and their life easier and lowering their overall stress of trying to run a roofing company or a plumbing company,
Yeah, you bet. So I want to get to kind of the state of CompanyCam here in just a second, kind of where we're at and things that are maybe on the radar.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of brought me to one thing. So, when I'm talking to our clients about, setting them up with CompanyCam,
yep.
I always mention that your guys are going to take more photos because it's so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that probably comes back to that transparency. Just to make sure I'm not lying to our clients. Did you notice that when when White Castle went from
close? It's not even. Yeah, it's not even close. Like it's like anything. If you know that after you do a thing, that then that's going to cause you to have 3 more steps, like whether it's subconsciously or you're going to minimize the amount of it because there's a big time burden on the other side. Whereas with CompanyCam, show up, and I mean, I want to say my dad's roofing company has taken like 250,000 photos on their own, just them. And we have customers. I mean, today, what have we had? Probably approaching 100,000 photos taken today. And it's, if you make it easy and you take away all the extra steps, like before it was you take the photo, okay. Then when you're done taking all the photos, you have to open up this one app. Then you click upload. Then you upload all the photos. It doesn't compress them, so they take forever to upload. Like you go through all these steps, which often those steps just get forgotten. Or, when you're busy, the first consequence or the first thing that you cut out is all the sort of tedious stuff that you have to do.
Absolutely.
You still get the work done and the things that you get paid for. But with CompanyCam, again, we're trying to simplify that, which is to say, we want you to have more information and take out the steps. Like here's a little inside knowledge. When we first built the first version of CompanyCam, we did this. My idea was I don't want them to have to decide anything. They just start taking photos and everything will be automatic. And I didn't write any of this math, but I said okay, I go take photos. Let's say I take 10 photos at a job. We take every one of those GPS coordinates from every one of those photos. And we found a center point to those GPS coordinates. And then we pulled the address from that center point. And the thing is, it worked really well. It was actually amazing. You didn't have to select the job or do anything at all. It just automatically organized them. The problem was Google was wrong a lot of times on the address. So we're in Nebraska, So you go out to Bennett, Nebraska, where Gogan lives, and there's a half chance that Google has the address wrong from one of those houses, and so that was unacceptable. We couldn't let it be wrong. But from the very beginning, it was, okay, this guy cares about his time out in the field a lot, and he doesn't want to screw around with typing in addresses and doing this stuff. So it has to be automatic, and so we tried to do it that way. Then we decided to split the difference and say, we're going to automatically pull it up, but we're going to make you confirm it just so that you know exactly where they're going. It's not a mystery, and afterwards you're going to find out that Google had the address wrong for the house you were at, So to your point, the simplicity of using it in the field is crucial. And that's, you've gotten that feedback, which is I can show someone who, where we can't even communicate. If you speak Spanish, I speak English, and maybe I speak broken Spanish, your English isn't the greatest. You can show that guy how to use CompanyCam in 1 minute. You don't. No, we're translating the app. Actually, the next release is going to have a full Spanish
There you go.
translation.
Stealing my thunder.
Yeah.
Questions again.
No, but you know, it has to be that simple because otherwise it adds time. You know what I mean? You don't want to add a tool that adds time. You need to add a tool that gives you more time to get other stuff done. Otherwise, it doesn't help your efficiency.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that's what I always tell people is your team's going to take more pictures with CompanyCam because they don't have to do anything else. It's hey, I got a text message or email or upload or whatever. Shout out Brian Barry. Thanks for being a CompanyCam user.
Brian Barry, let me say a thing about Brian Barry. Brian Barry is the friendliest Facebook troll that there is. He comments on all of our videos, and they're always just nice comments. Or he's shouting out his friend Kelly Danahay. So thanks for being in here, Brian. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you kind of hit on the translating the app to Spanish.
Yeah.
What else is maybe in the short-term radar, and then maybe the big picture radar?
Yeah.
Speak to a few of the new features in the.
Don't want to give away the whole farm,
Fair
but
enough.
there's a couple things we're working on right now. Number one is we're doing a little bit of a UI, like a user interface, basically a little redesign of the mobile app with the idea that we want it to be a little more customizable because we have different types of users. Even inside of one company, people will use CompanyCam for different reasons. Like some people are using it mainly just to see the photos they're getting taken, but a lot of people are using it just to take photos. They don't really care what someone else at the company is doing. They're just trying to document what they're doing. So we're building out a kind of a cool home screen that the user can customize to what they want the experience to be. And it kind of will quick link them around to a bunch of places where they can try to basically eliminate steps to getting to what you want to see. That's the whole idea. And then customizing the experience to the way that you want it. Now, that's leading right towards building in a collaboration tools. So, now you can share galleries, you can share photo reports, before and after. Like, there's all sorts of ways to share content from CompanyCam, but there's not a very good way to truly collaborate. So that, if I'm a restoration contractor and you're a drywaller and I'm documenting this job in CompanyCam, I don't have a good way to add you so that you can also take photos and communicate back and forth with me on this project. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're doing in the last quarter of this year is really making it so that you can add another contractor, you can add the customer, you can add anyone to the project, and they can, whether just on the web, through their phone or by downloading the app, they can take photos, write comments, communicate back and forth, and you're going to get all of that into one place so that you can have that big conversation in context. And then we think, there's interesting things there where, let's say, again, the roofing example, I know roofing. Someone calls me at a roofing company and says, "Hey, I've got shingles missing from my roof. I need a repair," or something like that. You could shoot them a link in CompanyCam and say, "Hey, if you took a couple photos, that could help us solve it quicker." And so they could walk outside, snap a couple photos right into CompanyCam so that it's almost like putting your customer to work in gathering information. Absolutely. So that when you go out, you don't have to go out, look at it, figure out what color it is, run to the distributor, grab a bundle, go back over, it's like, how can we put this to work to cut out steps in different processes? And then for some of the other stuff we're doing down the road, which is I don't think we're quite ready to talk about yet, put all our cards on the table, but will be really cool in facilitating collaboration, of making it easier to work together on projects as opposed to it being a completely internal kind of tool. And we're home stretching a way for you to publish photos to your website directly from CompanyCam. Absolutely. Because we want to touch every part of their business in a sense. If from the sort of estimating, you're going to document that, to the work getting done, or even the sales process. Like some of our customers that are smarter than me, because I never thought of this, they'll go out and they'll use the nearby projects functionality to do as part of their sales process. Well, they'll say hey, we did this over here around the corner from you, and 2 blocks away we did Sally's roof, and just kind of showed the customer the work that they did in the area, which really helps them build that credibility. But we're trying to go from estimating and sales through the execution of the job, of documenting that process, but then into marketing. And we've done that with before and after photos, with trying to think of what else. Mainly before and after photos, and the ability to quickly drag things out and share them to Facebook and Instagram. But we want to give our customers a super simple way to get their photos of their work from the job in CompanyCam straight to their website, without having to go log into some website thing and upload a bunch of photos. Trying to make it seamless so that they can publish all of that out, and just really with the goal of customer comes to your website, you can tell them all about how great you are and all this stuff, but we think that seeing is believing in a sense. Like, I know when I was trying to sell a roof that we were talking about trust and quality and everything, but I could talk to you about, well, you're learning that. You're getting to become an expert in the roofing or modeling. I don't want to say you know more than me, but you're coming up. But I could talk to you about the gutter apron and the valley metal, or whether we want to do a California cut or stuff. And you don't know what I'm talking about, But if I show you, if I put it in front of you, and it's like, this is how we do this. This is why. This is how we do this. And it's like people, when they can see it, they may have an opinion, or they kind of build up that trust that, like, these guys are paying attention to the details. And we think that if you can get users to your website and allow them to just browse through a bunch of the work that you've done, all of it being kind of like easy to find on Google, because there's a lot of local information in there just that will help Google say, oh, this is a project that was done in Omaha, Nebraska, or Toledo, Ohio, or whatever, and gives them a way to really show off their work and to hopefully attract more visitors to their website without having to have someone constantly dragging all the photos in or uploading them in the back end. So it's like, we just think, how can the content that you're generating in CompanyCam help your business in X number of ways? And so we're really trying to build out that type of functionality.
Absolutely. So you said that's home stretch?
Yeah, we're getting very close. A little more testing, but I mean, that's like in the next month or two, that's coming live.
Sounds good. So 2 things I want to hit on. One just brought me back to a storm we had in Lincoln last year.
Oh, yeah. I
was living here and, just driving around looking at some storm damage, and I love the collaboration. That's one thing that I'm probably most excited about. And putting, the customer to work, the customer calls and says, hey, that storm last night, I have a tree on my house. And I just can picture just down the road here where I lived, and I was driving, and there was legit a full-size tree through someone's house, and then 3 houses down there was, a small branch on their roof that might have done a little bit of damage, but completely different context for urgency for the roofing contractor. Same would be, for restoration contractors. I can't imagine the calls that they get and say, my basement's flooded.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 different types of, or lots of different types of, my basement is flooded. And so, I think that collaboration is going to be awesome. One other thing I'm excited about, can you speak a little bit to where the scanning, I know we have a scanner built in, but we've got some new stuff coming with that, and I'm kind of excited about that.
Yep, so our document scanning right now, not the greatest. Doing document scanning is tricky. We kind of built it from scratch, and we decided that we need to make this document scanning better. And we wanted to be able to not only just scan a page, but to be able to scan multiple pages, have it turn into a PDF that you can name, that will save into that project in CompanyCam, so you can share it, mark it up, do whatever you want to it. So in the very next release, we're going to be releasing our new scanner, which is like, it works really well at scanning, but then, like I said, it also generates, like, you could scan, for example, insurance paperwork is a common thing that people want to scan. You can scan that all in, 1 page at a time. You can even write little notes on it, stuff like that, and you can name that PDF, and then that will all just go together, save right into CompanyCam, be connected to that project moving forward. So I am super excited about the scanning. I kind of forgot. I mean, if we started going through it, kind of naming all the little things that are coming, not that that's like little, that's going to be important, and we want people to scan more documents, or just like to make it really easy to get the information from the field, saved in CompanyCam and organized so that they can find it later. We're also adding another camera thing. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Right now, CompanyCam will take photos at the dimensions of your phone screen.
Mhm.
So if you have like a super tall new iPhone, it'll take this tall, skinny photo. And if you have like a tablet, it'll take a 4x3 kind of squarish looking photo. And we're adding in the ability to toggle between those. Because when you take that tall, skinny photo, that is sort of cropping out some of the photo that you might want to see. You know, like I know I've been in my house trying to document some stuff, and it's like I feel like I'm taking more photos than I need to with CompanyCam.
Yeah.
And so we're just adding in the ability to take kind of like a wider photo at a different aspect ratio, I think is the right term, so that you could just capture more in the photo. But, you know, if you want, in my opinion, the photos that sort of fit your phone screen look the nicest on the phone. You know, and even if you're like sharing them to Facebook, Facebook gives them more vertical real estate. You know, it's like all these sort of downstream consequences. But if you're really just trying to document like loss, or especially on the inside of a thing, you want to get that like wider angle. And so we're adding that in, adding it as a toggle, and kind of really trying to incrementally just upgrade the camera and add some new features. We're going to be investigating some other stuff along those lines to just make the capture part more powerful.
Awesome. So I see we've got a few people popping in live here. We didn't get a ton of questions. I was kind of hoping the CompanyCam population out there would grill you and throw some questions at you. But we're going to have this saved and available on our Facebook page. Hopefully it doesn't cut into your Fortnite time too much. But fire questions at Luke. He loves Facebook and is, I think, probably more active than most CEOs on their company's Facebook page.
I'm losing Facebook right now. I'm on Twitter too much. Facebook or Instagram.
Joe,
I like looking at pictures of my nephew Knox on Instagram.
Knox.
He's adorable. My kid's not as adorable.
You better shout him out, though.
A little
They won't
bigger
hear their names.
maniac. Say that again.
You better shout them out, though. They'll like to hear their...
Oh. Hi, Cash. Hi, Jack. Hi, Clara. If you're watching this, listen to your mom. She's right.
Awesome. Joe Ledbetter. We're losing Luke on Facebook, so you need to start calling out some trolls and living on the page a little bit more. But definitely awesome to chat with you and enjoy some tacos. Appreciate the time, and get us some questions, and we'll have Luke on maybe first of the year with he loves the government, so maybe a legit State of the Union address.
Oh, Knox, my nephew just says hi. That's awesome. Yeah, dude, I feel like we should do this a little more often. I get to grill you next time.
Absolutely.
What are you hearing out in the field? That'd be a fun.
Hey, hopefully the next time we've got some new tagging options too. I'm pushing Luke for some tagging.
Oh yeah, that's coming down the pipe too.
Hey, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday. We are kind of up in the air on who our guest is going to be. Florence has kind of thrown a monkey wrench into some of our guests,
man. No kidding.
because we've got a lot of restoration contractors out helping those guys. So keep doing the good thing out there, helping those people, and we'll get somebody good on next week. Hopefully we don't have to go to Luke again.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, guys.
It hurts. Bye, guys.